Hey y'all, I'm Mesa and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be discussing A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the second book of the Blood and Ash series. I'm still debating if this book is my favorite or if From Blood and Ash is my favorite. They're both so good. This book has so many twists and so much sexual tension. Jesus fucking Christ. I loved it though. I wouldn't have asked for it any other way. And how dare Jennifer leave off on that cliffhanger and expect us to wait until April 2021. Does she think we're gonna be okay until then? Because I'm not. I literally joined the Facebook group that she has for this series, and she keeps like, putting teasers in, and I'm like, Jennifer, just release the whole book already. Just give it to me. I don't care if it's not done. Just give it to me. I need to know what happens. I am outside again, so sorry for any outside noises. You know the gist. That is all I'm gonna say before I get into the spoilers. No, do not spoil yourself. Leave. All right, bye. Bye. If you haven't read either books, leave. All right, you gone? Good. Okay. Now everyone who has read this book, let's get into it. This book begins with a bang. We start right where we left off from the first book. They're at the dining hall where Castile has just announced that him and Poppy are gonna get married. And conversations are happening, and one dumbass Wolven calls Poppy a scarred-faced bitch. And she flinches at that insult, and you better bet immediately Castile reacts. He fucking rips the dude's heart out. Like, no bullshit. Rips his fucking heart out. And that sends a message to everyone like, do not mess with my future wife. And I was like, little swoon moment. Throughout this whole book, Poppy and Castile are dealing with their relationship that's not really a relationship. Poppy is still hurt about Castile using her and lying to her, and you have to realize that like these events had just happened in the last few days. So much is happening to her, and I don't blame her from feeling hurt and not trusting Castile after all he's done to her. But of course, there's still a ton of sexual tension between the two. It's ridiculous. Again, I wouldn't have had it any other way, but... So one of the main questions I had at the end of From Blood and Ash was why Castile decided that the marriage route was the best choice of decision instead of just doing his original plan, which was using Poppy as a ransom to get his brother Malik back. And we get the reason why. I'm really glad that Castile actually tells Poppy why he decided that marriage was the better route. A marriage between them would possibly stop a war between the Kingdom of Atlantia and the Kingdom of Solis. By marrying Poppy, the maiden, it would show the people of Solis that the gods approved of their union. Also, the people seeing Poppy kiss Castile, it would dismiss the rumor that an Atlantean's kiss is poisonous. And Castile figures that the Ascended wouldn't or shouldn't go against that because it would be seen as them going against the gods. And if they contradict the gods, the Kingdom of Solis, which is built on lies, will begin to slowly crumble. That's Castile's reasoning. The only problem is now convincing the Atlanteans that the marriage is actually real. Because the Atlanteans and the followers have already all seen Poppy basically say fuck you to Castile, and she tried to kill him in the last book, and they all know that, so it's gonna be a challenge to convince them once they've already all seen this. Because in Atlantia, they don't marry out of convenience, they marry out of love. And if they can't convince them that their marriage or their want to be married is real, then their plan to save their brothers kind of falls through. Because that was another point that Castile said to Poppy, hey, if we get married, we have a better chance of saving both our brothers. In this book, we also learn another reason why Poppy could have been the maiden. In the last book, we learned that she is half Atlantean, so they could have used her blood to turn others into vampire. But Castile tells her of another way that she could have been used. She could have been used to feed Malik. Atlanteans need Atlantean blood in order to survive. Emphasis on the word survive. They can live without Atlantean blood, but they need it to survive. And what I mean by that is, if an Atlantean does not have Atlantean blood, they become animalistic and out of control. And it's basically not a life once they get to that point. And it's only full-blooded Atlanteans that need Atlantean blood to survive. Poppy doesn't need it because she's only half. But a half Atlantean like Poppy's blood is sufficient enough to feed an Atlantean. And of course, why does Castile know this? It's because he was captured. He had other Atlanteans feeding him so he can survive. I'll get more into that later. During this conversation, Poppy asks Castile if the people who were ascending were aware of what was happening. And of course she's asking this because she wants to know if her brother Ian was aware of what was happening. And Castile says that they looked drugged, which means that most of them probably didn't know what was happening before it was too late, which is terrifying. Fast forward a little bit, Poppy wakes up from this horrible nightmare about the Craven attack when she was a little girl that killed both of her parents. She is screaming from this nightmare, but Castile is there to calm her down, and Poppy is embarrassed that she has woken up Castile because of her nightmare, and Castile tells her not to be embarrassed. And he even tells her of his own past that haunts his nightmares. Specifically, he tells her more about his time when he was captured and was used to turn others into Ascended. The Ascended would not give Castile any Atlantean blood, which caused his healing abilities to not work. That's how they branded him. And when the Atlanteans that were used to keep Castile alive were on the verge of death, they would come in and kill them in front of Castile. Or if other times when Castile was just starving, he would kill them. And then the Ascended would leave the bodies in there for weeks on end just to stay there with Castile. And it's just horrifying having those dead bodies that you either saw killed or you killed. And even though that's sad as shit, I'm really glad that Castile told Poppy. One of the really interesting things we learn in this book is that there are different Atlantean bloodlines. Castile is from the elemental bloodline, which means they're descendants from the children of the gods. And they're the only Atlanteans that have golden eyes, so that's how you can spot them. And we also learn that Poppy can be descended from a bloodline that has died off. And Castile believes that she is a descendant of a bloodline called the Empaths, or they're also called soul eaters. They were able to read and control emotion, and everyone on the battlefield feared facing them. And Castile believes that's why Poppy can feel what other people are feeling, because she's descended from them. We meet Alistair, who is an old respected wolven and an advisor of Castile's parents, the king and queen. He takes Poppy to the side and asks her, "Hey, are you guys really engaged? Are you guys really in love? Or is this just another attempt by Castile to get his brother back?" And I was like, yikes, he got that on the dot. And he tells Poppy if Castile is using her to get his brother back, that he can help her escape if that is not what she wants. Of course, Poppy also has her brother to keep in mind, so she lies and says, no, that's not what's going on. We really are in love. But then Alistair also tells Poppy about Shay, who is his daughter, but was also Castile's past lover, and that they were supposed to get married before she died. And Poppy's like, shit, is that the sorrow that she feels in Castile 24/7 on him? He always is carrying this grief on him, and she thinks that, oh no, so not only is it his brother, but also Shay that is the cause of his grief. And Poppy gets a little jealous, in my opinion. She's like, oh, that's why Castile will never love me, because he already loved another. He's not gonna love me as much as he loved Shay. In this book, we also see for the first time what the Ascended actually look like when they fight, and it's terrifying. Their faces contort, their cheekbones get sharpened, and their jaw drops to reveal fangs, and then they're hissing like serpents, and they're crouched down. It was a terrifying description. I'm like, what the fuck? The Atlanteans don't look like this when they fight. They still have fangs, but they don't look fucking terrifying like that. And also their eyes are like coal, just like the Cravens. And Poppy makes that distinction. She's like, oh my god, their eyes look exactly like the fucking Craven. Which makes sense because the Ascended make the Craven. We also see what Bloodstone does to the Ascended. They shatter and turn into dust. That's what Bloodstone does to them. If they get stabbed, they shatter and they become dust. And I was like, fucking shit, damn, okay. In this little battle, Poppy gets captured. She gets bitten. It hurts like a bitch, but Castile saves her. Remember how Poppy and Castile are dealing with their relationship that's not a relationship? They make a deal with each other like, hey, let's pretend. Let's still make out with each other. Let's still have sex with each other, but we're gonna pretend. You'll be Poppy and I'll be Hawk, and nothing bad ever happened between us. Let's just pretend in these moments. And my as pretend they want each other. Like, They want each other so bad, but neither of them want to admit it. So now they are riding through Pompeii on their way to Cespa's End. Poppy sees what the Ascended has done to this town. It is completely destroyed, and there is a huge graveyard with stone mounds upon stone mounds. And she truly sees like what the Ascended can do. Throughout this whole book, even though she knows that they're bad, she keeps seeing examples about how actually fucking bad they are. Oh my god, so Castile almost kills Poppy, but instead he eats her out. Remember how I said if Atlanteans don't have Atlantean blood, they become animalistic and out of control? That is exactly what has happened to Castile, because we learned that Atlanteans, once they love someone, they can't drink from anyone else's blood but theirs. And of course, Castile hasn't asked Poppy, hey, can I drink from your blood? I'm fucking starving. So he has been on the edge this whole time. Did anyone else think that when Poppy was giving Castile her blood, that was going to turn into a threesome with Kieran? Because not gonna lie, I thought that's where that scene was going. It didn't though, it was just awkward. Okay, so Poppy's now glowing. I mean legit glowing. And she has healing powers. That little wolven, Beckett, broke his legs while in his wolven form. Poppy not only was able to heal him, but she was able to make him shift back into his human form so she can heal him. And it's a very what the fuck moment, because the older wolven don't remember empaths being able to do that. So they're like, is she of that bloodline? What's going on? Is she going through the culling? The culling is when Atlanteans shift into their power, so they're thinking, oh shit, is that what she's going through? But the people are now getting scared of her, and they don't trust her. One of my favorite moments is when Castile takes Poppy to this cave lake, and they have sex, but they're not pretending. They're fucking as Poppy and Castile with all their history, no bullshit. They know what they're doing, and they've admitted to each other their feelings. And this is a shift in their relationship, which is now turning into a real relationship. And then of course some drama happens. Poppy realizes that she loves Castile, but then she finds out that he's actually engaged to someone else back in Atlantia. And Poppy and Castile have this heated conversation, and then Shay is brought up, and I thought there was going to be a whole showdown thing going on, but it's interrupted because the sky is on fire. And the sky on fire wasn't actually the sky, it was the Ascended burning huge portions of land as a signal to, hey motherfuckers, we're coming and we're getting our maiden back. And they learn that the Ascended are marching on Seppa's End. Alright, back to Shay. Castile tells Poppy what really went down between him and Shay, and why he never talks about her to anyone. So Shay and Malik, when Castile was captured, went to go and rescue him. But when rescuing him, she was captured by the Ascended, and she told them, hey, I am here with the Crown Prince of the Kingdom of Atlantia. Take him and let me go. So she trades her life for Malik's. And then she tried to do the same thing with Castile when they got captured while they were trying to escape. And when Castile realizes what she did and why his brother is not there with him, and the haze that he was in kind of clears up, he fucking kills the Ascended, and he kills her. And honestly, I'm glad he killed her. What a bitch. She's literally a coward. Why did she go rescue him if she wasn't willing to get I don't know. And that's why he doesn't talk about her, because he's a good person. He doesn't want her to be seen as a traitor, especially when her dad is very high up and she was very well respected. Honestly, Castile's a better person than I am, because I would have 100% ratted that motherfucker out right away. Like that. But Castile's just a better person than me, apparently. And my heart exploded when Castile properly proposed to Poppy. My heart also exploded when Poppy's getting ready for the wedding, and she takes Victor's dagger and she straps it onto her, and that's symbolizing that Victor's there with her through the wedding. And I was like, I loved Victor, and that just made my heart so happy. They get married. There are specific rituals that go down, but the main one that I was interested in was this imprint. And the imprint is a golden swirl in the middle of the palm. Just like we see with all of our chapters, that's it right there. And the imprint doesn't go away until a spouse dies. What an awful way to find out that your spouse died. You looked at your palm and then your imprint's not there anymore. Sad as shit. Once their wedding is finalized, the sky turns black, and it was an omen sent by Nyktos, who is the king of the gods. And the omen meant that he approved of the marriage, and he's approving of the marriage even in his sleep. And that is a huge deal, and something that Jasper, the one who married them, had never seen before. Jasper is an old wolven, father of Kieran. And then Poppy and Castile have blood sex. By that, I mean they are drinking each other's blood while they're going at it. Jennifer and her sex scenes, man, I can't be mad at her. The Ascended Army finally comes, and who's there with them? The fucking Duchess. I thought the Duchess was a good person in the other book too, so I'm a little disappointed that she was not a good person. Not necessarily a good person, but a neutral person, you know what I mean? So it's just like, ugh, you're bad too? Are all of them bad? And the conversations between the Duchess before and during the battle are really weird. The Duchess tells Poppy that she is born of flesh and fire. Poppy doesn't know what the fuck that means. But then she tells Poppy that the Ascended Queen is Poppy's grandma. What? What, Jennifer, what? But then Poppy kills the Duchess in her carriage with a bloodstone dagger, so she turns to dust. And then Castile and Poppy have sex in that same carriage. They're literally having sex on a battlefield, but you know what? I can't blame them, because before the Wolven came in and saved their asses, they thought that they were gonna die. Like, they were surrounded by the Ascended Army. They didn't see any way of getting out, so they kind of were just like, you know what? This is it. This is it. But luckily it's not. The Wolven came to their rescue. Thank you, Kieran. But it was weird because the Wolven said that they felt Poppy calling for them. And this isn't the first time that a Wolven has felt this way with Poppy. And so it's really weird being like, what kind of powers does she have that draw them into her? That's the only reason why they knew where the fuck they were at, was because they felt her. But she doesn't even remember calling them. After the battle, when Poppy is helping heal other people, an old Wolven gives her a warning. He says that though Castile is a loved prince, his father is a loved king, which basically means if the king wants to use Poppy as a ransom or as a message or wants to kill her, the people will back the king up, not Castile. But I do think the Wolven meant well. Like, he's trying to warn her, like, hey, watch your back. Not everyone's going to be grateful that you're healing us. A lot of people are scared of you. Be careful. We're now at the end of the book, and fucking Jesus, man, that ending was So Beckett, the little fucking bitch Wolven, takes her to see the chamber of Nyktos. And there, Atlanteans who don't like her and see her as infiltrating their country stone her. And oh boy, oh my god. She starts glowing. From her eyes, from her whole being, she starts fucking glowing. Thunder is going off overhead, shaking the temple and the trees, and lightning is striking overhead. Poppy took their emotions of hate, loathing, vengeance, and intensified those feelings and fed it back to them. They are shrieking and spasming in pain, trying to make it stop until they break their own bodies and die. Their dead bodies are twisted and contorted, and their blood is everywhere on the stone floor. Then bells start ringing with no pause. The stone floor starts to crack, and the place where Poppy's blood first dropped, a blood tree sprouts and grows. In the middle of the fucking temple, Castile and his parents come along with the Wolven, and they're just like staring at her and staring at the scene. Castile sees the mess and he lowers to one knee, and the rest follow his lead. And then his mom, the Queen of Atlantia, takes her crown off, puts it at the feet of the statue of Nyktos, and says, and I quote, "Bow before the last descendant of the most ancient ones, she who carries the blood of the king of the gods within her. Bow before your new queen." That is where it fucking ends! That is the last sentence of the book. Jennifer, why? Poppy is the motherfucking Queen of Atlantia. Jennifer, how dare you leave this off on that note? What the fuck? What the fuck? I need to know what happens in the third book, which is titled The Crown of Gilded Bones. Here's what I'm hoping for in the third book. I want to find out if Ian is actually Poppy's blood brother. I also want to meet him. He's been discussed for 2 books, but we have not met him yet. I really want to meet him. I also want to know what actually happened during the Craven attack, because even Poppy doesn't know, and I really want to find out what the hell happened. I also want to know if her parents actually died. I just want to know what went down, because it's very mysterious, and it's a big part of Poppy's life. Also, is the queen her grandma? And if so, what did the queen originally have planned for Poppy? Also, did the queen kill her parents? What actually went down? Again, what fucking actually happened? I also don't trust Alistair. I don't have any real proof, it's just a gut feeling. Okay, I thought of some reasons. Outlier is the reason why Castile and Poppy weren't together in the first place when she went to the chamber. He had to talk with Castile about something serious. Also, he's a respected old Wolven, so of course the little Wolven's gonna do what he says. Also, I found it really weird that when we learned that Castile was originally engaged and in love with his daughter, that the person that he's currently engaged to right now is his niece. Like, I found that suspicious, also disgusting. What? Which makes me think that he's in it for the power, like family power. Also, I was a little suspicious after like the 10,000th time he asked Poppy like, hey, I can still get you out of here. Hey, are you sure this is real? Hey, like, just shut the fuck up. Also, I just know the people of Atlantia are not gonna accept Poppy as their queen. And just, I know there's gonna be so much shit having to do with that. And Jennifer, why did you do this to us? Jennifer has also announced that the third book starts with a bang, and I really want to know what that bang is because we leave off with a cliffhanger that is a bang. I loved this book so much. I'm so excited for the third book, which comes out April of 2021. I just did not expect Poppy to be of the bloodline of the King of the Gods and her to be queen. What? I'm Kaylee Mesa. Thanks so much for watching. Please let me know what you thought of this book down below. I loved it. I'm so excited. If you want to see more of my beautiful face, all my social medias are linked down below. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, make sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button. Bye! I'm editing my video right now and I just find it fucking hilarious how you can like see the progression of the sun in my video because of the shadows and how blinding it is, and I'm just like, also say hi to Sebastian, my good boy. He didn't interrupt me this time. Oh, you little bitch.